better watch out. I'm on the climb to the crown in my prime right now. Hear me loud, I've been spitting for a while now.
Okay, I can hear
it.
Welcome back once again to VCT EMEA. Well, BBL have taken the first map of 2025. Honestly, I never thought I would say this. I spent many years saying Forza BBL, but right now it feels like they're on the board and they look really solid.
Yeah, we were talking about how this is the first time in the history of Valorant that they decided to go for a non-full Turkish roster, and also even with the fact that they have that sub coming in VAC, I think that the performance that we just saw in this map, also the map that GIANT picked, it was, I'm gonna say, a little bit unexpected, because I think I expected more from GX in that sense.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't know what happened in that BBL timeout that came in so early on, but I feel like after that point, they kind of got things together and were able to string rounds together as well and build some momentum. So people's pick'ems are going to be in ruins.
Yeah, and this is the other thing. We're so like hyper-focused and excited about the Tejo. We forgot about Vice, of course, first time in VCT EMEA as well. And I honestly, I would have not expected Runner, of all people, to be the person playing it.
I think that, you know, he's proven in the past, like how last year he started as a duelist, ended up as a sentinel. I think that he has the qualities and what it takes to be playing the Vice. I saw a couple of rounds where definitely the kid was making a difference, especially on the defense, how he was able to not only to secure one of the sites and then later on follow up on the next one on both B and C. But I do have to say that in many occasions, the timings were a little bit off and probably costed them some rounds, especially on the first half.
Yeah, I think on their attack, we've seen BBL were kind of struggling to come in for that retake initially, and a lot of that was the Vice utility being down on site. You know, they had their post plant set up really quickly and really easily. So defense, I feel like I wish we could have got to see a little bit more. I don't think that we actually got to see what they were fully capable of with that Vice setup.
What was brilliant though were our rookies, of course. Every year they always come in and make a splash. I mean, I called out the tier listers earlier. I need all of you that doubted Westside to apologize with tears. But how exciting is it, Billy, to see these players? I've never played on this stage before pull off things like this.
Yeah, I think that's the exciting part, is that we get to see them in these clutch moments and have their hero plays, right? Because they're people that we've kind of gone under the radar a little bit. It's their first year in VCT. I think they've made a great debut, and it's great to see how hyped and excited that they get on the stage as well.
Just average Danny reaction.
Yeah. It's so funny because if you ever go to any event, exchange 5 words with Pipson and you will understand how important these cameras are. But especially this round that we're seeing right here, this 2v1 is unreal. With this last bullet, this is the kind of play that gives you the confidence to secure the map. But as we're saying, it's also so important to have this kind of debuts, especially when you're the underdog.
Yeah, I mean, for Westside, you know, fairly up and coming, you mentioned earlier, his trajectory's been interesting, but for Sociable, this is a long time coming. Long time. And I'm so happy to see him do well here. But let's talk about round 11 as well, because I feel like we could talk about every round, but what did you, I guess, pick out from this?
I'm very happy that you mentioned that timeout that we saw during the first half, because this play I absolutely loved when BBL just decides to be aggressive. This is such a change, but necessary, right? After the first 5 rounds that we saw during the half, to finish up in this kind of note, even though they're picking up the operator, they decide to be aggressive, and we're going to see how GIANT is not prepared for this. This comes, as we're saying, right off that timeout. They decide to put it on that pressure because we know that the Vice is going to be very strong on that postman, that they were securing many things on A just because and thanks to that Viper wall. But not only lining up and having a different kind of wall bank onto that door from a different perspective is also what happens onto C, and how they cover the entire map and understand exactly what they need.
Yeah, I think it was a really nice pinch from BBL ultimately. They had a really good read. They were able to kind of take some initiative. We've seen a few runs from Levin as well, from Lewin as well, where he was, you know, taking that space on his defense and just being able to kind of get a better read on GIANT and feed that back to Yampi. You know, we should be playing this and playing that. So yeah, no, it was really nice to see them go for a pinch this round.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the duelist, because it does feel like Billy Purpo was diffed on that map.
Yeah, I mean, Loon was the superstar of this one. I think the way that he played Raze was really good. I think, as we said as well, like he was able to take space for a lot of his team and feed things back to Yampy, because something that we've seen with Yampy was he was moving around the map a lot to be able to assist Loon in these situations.
Yeah, and actually, especially from the defense, right? When we think about those first 5 rounds of the game where Giant X was simply superior, it was always them getting the first kill, them finding an opener and a duel that it was so favorable for them. But actually, BBL adapted super quickly. And one of the things that they did is just set up his duelist to have a very good initial duel. And that is that in those first kills, in those first duels, where Purple was on the receiving end.
We will be moving on to Haven next. I mean, we haven't talked all that much about Vac. He looked great. And of course, one of the players that is, I would say, considered a veteran of our scene, came so close to Ascension as well. There was a real chance that he might have made it onto the stage just organically instead of being a sub. But on Haven, my mind is just so used to seeing him play Jet for, I don't know, God knows how many times in 2021, 2022. I feel weird that he's going to maybe not play that on the next one.
I mean, his performance during map 1, even though the numbers, I don't think reflect exactly the truth, he was put under a lot of pressure. Being the solo defender of that seaside, I think that he learned and adapted very quickly on his position and how to take the duels that was going to favor him the most. That experience is there. But as you're saying, Vac is not a newbie. He's not a rookie that we've never seen before. No. So I'm excited to see what Haven has.
Yeah, I think Haven as well. Like, we can kind of compare it to Lotus in the sense that it has 3 bomb sites, right?
It is a map.
It is a map. I've heard. But where I'm going with this is, how is he going to like fit into the team with him being a sub? Like, what have BBL already prepared for Haven, and how is Vac going to fit into that? That's what I'm going to be looking out for into this one.
I mean, we could even see a back-to-back Yampy Breach, maybe. He just stays in that role.
Breach operator, my fave.
Yep. Killjoy operator if he wants to whip it out.
I love the Killjoy operator.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at Agent Select. And it feels like we are cursed today. We will not be seeing Tejo for another map. And yeah, Vac is just slotting in Chihuahua's role.
I mean, yeah, we expect the kind of like non-surprises. BBL keeping it very clean.
Upsets me.
Maybe it upsets you because it is an upset.
Well, but why is this so standard? Maybe this is kind of setting us up for KC Na'Vi later, because that's going to be
on hit.
This is a starter. This is a starter.
But actually, we were talking about it, and I think that we have to keeping an eye on that. This duel, Jet versus Jet, on a map that we've seen since the beginning of the game, has to have some kind of leverage for Purple. He should be feeling more comfortable here. Nothing is out of the box. Everything we expect to be pretty standard, and this is where he should thrive.
Yeah, no, definitely. I hope that going into this one he can kind of get it together. Maybe it's nerves being back up on that stage, I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, can he actually bring this out, and how is Runner going to support any plays that he's looking to make.
Yeah, and what I love is we talk about a team that's moved away from a full Turkish roster. They got a Turkish Jet. Like, I don't think you can ever tell a Turkish team, like, yeah, make sure you don't keep a Turkish Jet on your team.
Know what's good.
Yeah, so that's going to be really interesting. So let's jump back into this map with Mitch and Tom and see if they can bring us to a map 3.
Thank you very much, Yinsu. Map 3, it's on the cards, but I'm not sure if we're going to be getting there. I'll toss that to you, Tom, to see what you think, because, well, these teams, they've met before on Haven, haven't they?
Yeah, I was going to say, there's not many cases when you're on day 1 of the season that you can go, actually, I have some data for you, but we do. They played this map in an off-season tournament, and it resulted in a 13-7 victory. Now, there has been a slight shift. Purpo's gone away from Neon and has moved to Jet, so we now have more of a mirror matchup in that regard, other than the Sentinels. I want to say that gives GX almost a bit more of an advantage, because they can now make those changes and look at what went wrong for them and try and fix things. Whereas for BBL, we already know they've been on a tight schedule. Chances are they haven't changed much at all about this map, because it was one they already played and were comfortable on. They're also going to have to rely now on Vac again, although I think that map, the last map, he looked very good, looked comfortable, so I don't think it's too much of a problem. I don't know if it's going to be enough to turn it, though, because I just think on, like, a team level, BBL looked better. Like, there was more supportive utility. I think Yumpy was the unsung hero of that last map. His stuns were fantastic. His supportive util put so many of these sort of high firepower players into position. And as Sue said, we get a Turkish Jet. Now, this is something that, even though the game's only been out 5 years, from the age of 3, Loon has been training for this moment to hit headshots while playing Jet. It was actually, he's the prodigal son. He's ready to do it. So, yeah, I think Purpo has got to try and live up to that, because in the last map, he got diffed.
I think there's no other way to say it, Tom. 1 opening duel, 8 lost. It's not ideal for him, but we can come up with excuses, reasons that could be, but we don't want to see Purpo having 2 tough maps in a row. Even on losses last year, someone that was shining for this squad. GX on the defense, and 1-0 down as they move onto Haven. Now, look, for BBL, on the attack, they seem comfortable. And they're certainly going in quickly. Yeah, already taking a site, but check out behind. There's a couple of fellas on the walk up. They've been spotted, and as a result, BBL try to take control towards spawn. That does work out for a kill at least.
Yeah, it's whether or not now they make the decision to move the spike in that direction. The smoke going down is definitely something that brings through warning signs, puts the doubt in the mind of whether or not they want to go through that. And you can bet your life that Westside has heard those steps. But it's a ruse. This is a really nice little mid-round from the side of BBL. They have played the part. They have sold the fake. And look at them going all the way around the map. They couldn't be further away from the action at this point. If BBL now just walk into the A site, they have the plant they wanted, but for free.
Almost walked up behind B. Could have found Westside looking the other way. You know, for a moment there, no doubt, GX are on the rotate, rubbing their hands together, going, oh, they still haven't planted. We're going to catch them. No, not quite. It's on the other side of the map. They have duped you, and now a 3 versus 4. The post plant on A exactly as intended from BBL starting this round, although a bit of an unusual manner. They hear the steps as these players make their way into Heaven on GX's side. Just 1 sent down below, which is Westside to emerge from the smoke. They hear utility. They'll wait it out, but BBL again getting proactive. They're going to take the space up towards the spawn. I'm not sure if that's caught them, but they're in the smoke anyways. They're ready for a close range fight and winning most, if not all. Loon with another big round. 3 under his belt and Sociable to close it out 1-0 for BBL.
Yeah, I feel like this is almost exactly what I was talking about, though. You see those sort of calls coming out from the side of BBL. Mentioned at the beginning, this is sort of Yumpy's inaugural season as that IGL, and so far the decision-making from this team has looked fantastic to sort of fake out the steps, bait the player they knew was there, the smoke didn't go down for nothing, and then put Loon in a position to thrive, and well, every time that's happened, he has.
As we've seen again and again, 1-0 for BBL. And for Purpo, the question as the game goes on is, can he match what's being delivered by the youngster on the other side? We talk about Nerve stepping up on that stage. Not something we expect from a lot of these GX guys, having been here before, having played here. It's Loon in a new area. Another pausa technica. Luckily, though, nice and early on, like we say, after that pistol, somewhere where you expect GX to probably take an eco, and it should be a fairly quick round afterwards. We'll see if that's the case. For now, though, a map under their belt and a potential good start to this map, something they were missing on Lotus for BBL. Times are a-changing.
Yeah, I think maybe just getting off to a little bit of a rough start, getting into the rhythm of things. And as I said, that's not easy to do when you are playing with a player missing. Like, it's not like Vac will have been in the roster and practicing with them week in, week out. Like, up until very recently, we thought Chiwa was going to be here. And as mentioned, like, I think he is a player that if you've watched Valorant or EMEA Valorant for a decent amount of time, you know that name. You know, well, maybe you know Chihuahua. He has shortened it, but he was someone that even back in some of the early seasons of Challengers and playing through to those sort of like, well, not quite international, but masters before they were truly masters. That guy was there. That guy was performing. That guy was someone you feared. So the fact he's not here is huge. But someone else who was also competing in those events is Vac. And so far, okay, sure, he's 0-1, but there has only been 1 round.
Yeah, give him a moment. Give him a moment. Yeah, for Chiwa, I still remember his play on Ascent Boathouse. Remember that till the day I die. BBL 1-0, and we're back into the game with GX on the defense, looking to get aggressive. Again, they didn't invest into this round. It is a low buy from the squad. Just a couple of pistols, but some sheriffs. They can always be dangerous. Luckily, Loon's already taken down one, and he's making a lot of progress towards the Blade Storm early on. We just started round 2, and he's already halfway there with the potential to farm up every one of these kills with one bullet, thanks to GX not investing into armor due to them having no credits. So, a pretty big round if Loon can put up some more numbers here, and look how many players are just itching to give him a chance. Luckily, he walks the other way.
I would say lucky for who, but definitely for them. Definitely for them, with the way he's been performing so far. A fairly open C site. Our West Side has already proven that the individual ability is there. The guy can aim, the guy can hit headshots, but this would have to be the best of them, especially with the fact that he's being flanked. He's got players coming in from behind already. Position cleared, and well, the spam does the job well enough. Again, I like the pacing of which BBL plays these rounds. They're very careful, very methodical, making sure that players can't sneak up on them, even having the cam late to basically check on every single player from GX. This is not looking like a team that, well, maybe we expected coming into today.
I think that's fair to say. Yeah, there were a lot of question marks, but now those blanks are being filled in, and I like what I'm seeing. For GX, we said this is just pistols. A chance to drop a couple of players, but the only one walking at them is the one with the pistol. He doesn't mind going down. Any damage from this point, though, would be substantial, and Loon's head is ripped clean off. The weakest of the weapons have been dropped. Now the expensive ones, the Bulldog, the Vandal, still in play. Sociable. If he goes down, there's a chance for them to retrieve it, but that chance fading with Prophet coming up behind. Down goes Sociable. Runner luckily doesn't land an extra shot. It's being costly, and the chance is even there for some weapons to be carried forward. Luckily, they'll still be able to scrape together a decent buy without breaking the bank.
Yeah, I guess as well, the saving grace for the players that ended up going down that had some sort of weaponry is the fact that they're the ones close to the ultimate. So Loon and Sociable. Sociable was actually one off having a Hunter's Fury going into this round, which, again, rarity for a round 3 purchase. So even if he just goes in, tries to get an orb, that would be enough. That could be enough to get them an opener, and then, well, potentially another gun on the board.
Seems like a much more direct approach in this round with the mixed bag they have. Oh my word, Loon! 3 kills? If this was an eco, fair enough, but it's BBL that have the weaknesses. They're supposed to be at a disadvantage, but a couple seconds into the round, everybody's got weapons, courtesy of Loon.
So she was like, guys, I got the orb. The orb? Oh, do we need my Hunter's Fury still for the post-plant? What? I feel like there's going to be people already typing in chat asking about, like, yeah, what's his crosshair? What's this monitor? What monitor is he using? The mouse? Sensitivity? What chair has he got? Because this has already been one hell of a display. As I said, we talk about players like Purpo. I think there were even points last year where people were talking about freeing Purpo because of how good he was playing in matches. Right now, I don't think I've said his name other than to announce he's died to Loon.
Yeah, that seems to be it.
Seems a bit harsh.
Blade Storm online coming into round 4.
Does he need it? He'll have killed everybody by the time he activates it.
Just keep using the Vandal at this rate. That is outrageous. Just a straight run up C-long, run and gun, take him down. There was a reveal coming through. Sure, your stuns are going to help, but the individual prowess of this man to just rip heads off, sidesteps the stun, by the way. They come in thinking they've got at least 1 kill served up for them, but no. This bodyguard is there.
Sociable's going, I got 2 assists in my review.
Running up those stats.
I think that was one of Powell's strats, you know. He was just like,
I believe so.
Loon go kill. And Mark New was like, I'm not sure about that one. Wow, what a start. 3-0 up, and he's not stopping. Already another kill to add to the tally. Hasn't had a need to pop the Blade Storm early in this map. And okay, there's a couple of weapons to play behind for the side of GX. Maybe some hope for Purpo or Runner to try and do some damage. In fact, the hope is to gamble. Get 3 players in onto this site, stack things up, and try and re-aggress. They're walking into a danger zone.
Loon gets them all. I've seen this before. Okay, for the first time.
All he needed was a Mitchman curse.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, that is actually my bad. I'm sorry, Loon. Back going the same way.
Done?
The round's falling apart.
BBL, that's at Mitchman.
GX
At Mitchman, BBL fans.
They've claimed some weapons as well, and GX, they're getting back out of there. I like the lack of over-aggression. They realize they've already gotten a massive reward, and there's no need to throw it away. Still gambling 3 towards the A site, though. That does mean that despite the disadvantages, BBL are walking towards the weaker side of the map. 30 seconds. Alarm bot's still down and a nano. It's a small factor, but it could buy a little bit of time if it's left unchecked.
Whether or not there's not really any sort of activation. Yeah, immediately. It'll be a small amount of damage, but nothing to worry about. Yeah, not anything to write home about.
10 seconds left.
They're just going to be playing this one as a retake. Now, I mentioned Sociable will have his ult online last round. He still has it online this round. And actually, Profix now the one looking to try and make a play. That's huge. Evens things up. The more players that get dropped, the more valuable that Hunter's Fury becomes in the late round. Maybe it can pick off another. And Profek has been given the go-ahead to try and keep aggressive, but he's going to get dropped for it.
Yeah, it was the right call. You know they're going to be quick to take site, knowing the Hunter's Fury's online. They'll want to give themselves as much time as possible. In goes one pulse, catches 2 players, kill on that, and possibly another to be found. Low HP, the spams, not quite landing, and it's down to the wire, but he's got it on 5 HP. Stealing the round out from under their nose.
It's a Red Bull clutch just about for the side of GX. They're going to get their first round off a sneaky defuse within the smoke and a matter of millimeters that ends up turning it in their favor. Something at least, but there's still a whole lot more to be desired, and we've mentioned many times throughout this match so far that Bladestorm is online. I will say, I'm looking at the sort of the HUD at the moment. I've seen Vax bought himself a Guardian when his teammate has 7,800 credits. So I'm hoping that he's not going to do that, but we do obviously have ourselves currently a pause.
Yeah, he might have clicked it to look at the skin. Now we're in a tech pause, so he's got to wait.
Oh, I can tell you he hasn't because he's got his knife out.
Oh, well, doesn't like the skin very much, clearly. But yeah, 3-1. Little bump in the road for the side of BBL. Some great ideas, though, again. And like I said, the fact that Profex stays aggressive, they're already a man down. You know that they're going to flood that side immediately, looking to push you back and make that Hunter's Fury come into play early on so the clock isn't a big issue. How does Profex want to deal with that? Gets aggressive, takes a pick for free while they're rushing their way back through. And then, well, to be honest, that round, a lot of it comes down to he gets caught by that stun. It ends up leaving him without. Look, even if he gets a kill or runs the clock a little bit further, it's a completely different round we see play out. 3-1 though. GX with a lifeline. Still rolling Thunder to play with in this round. Purpo getting aggressive, op in hand, waiting
Loon's
for an
gone.
Opportunity.
Loon's just gone. He's just run all the way down. And talk about no support. He's just gone in on his own. The rest of the team are nowhere near. They've rolling thundered.
Gonna kill him.
Just Loon, but it's not quite going to land. Honestly, that's a good trade for that ult. You've killed off the danger man, and now Runner looks to take things into his own hands. An ex-duelist turned Sentinel, now turned Initiator. But he's still got the aim to go with it.
He's looking for the full house when it comes to rolls in this game. Tamazi, another change up, flanking in for Profek. Reveal is good, but West Side's better. GX, another round on the board. They've managed to chain them together. And now, well, BBL under a little bit of threat. Burned up some ultis. Haven't found the rounds as a result. That's a lot of dangers taken out of the road for GX.
Yeah, it was one where, again, they get a couple of openers, but there is a response from GX. We're starting to see some of the heroes come alive on their side, where they've been a bit quieter thus far. I think especially towards the second half of the last map, we didn't see any of those plays sort of turn things into their favor. But now at least, though, that's back-to-back rounds that seemingly have been winnable for the side of BBL. Still have the finances to spend, but those are diminishing as GX look back on the horse again.
They found their winning ways. A little bit of aggression around mid this time. You looked at Tamazi potentially going down, walking in and finding a kill, and it will happen a little bit later. But the kill I'm not sure about, but the walk down, that's for certain. Still, looks like timing's a little bit missed by the side of GX with an A site wide open and a plant to come through. Not much to do to deny it. Shock darts not even going to land. Yumpy being cautious and then finding the player up above. Yumpy is the hunter and he's found his prey. Plant and GX with a man disadvantage and plenty of utility to face off against.
Lumen always likes to play so aggressively, but it's going to be forced off. Stun. Delaying that a little bit further. Aftershock as well. Again, just a masterclass from Yumpy to try and make things as awkward.
Whoa!
And Loon got both of those. He turns around and gets a third for an Inzo flawless. That second one, it looked like just random spray in the dark.
Onto the ground as well. Aiming at the guy's ankles. See, I don't know if he was hit up by another teammate or if that was just the craziest spray transfer.
It's got like
it was still going.
bullets.
Let's have a look at this. He's low as well, but from Loon?
Yeah, there's no assist. There's no assist there. It's just him. that makes absolutely no sense. It must be nice having him on your team.
Jeez. Well, hey, listen, a round's a round and a timeout for GX. They're scratching their heads about how they let that one slip. Understandably. Loon, 12-3 kicking off this map. Look, we talked a lot about him after the last map. We talked a bit about Purpo as well, that head-to-head in the duelists. And, well, if this was the attack side for GX, I might have more excuses. But right now, it's looking like BBL. They've got the team play. There were a couple mistakes on Lotus, but they managed to course correct eventually. And when it comes to firepower, I don't think it's a discussion right now. BBL, by far, taking the lead in that department.
Yeah, no doubt. I think Loon is taking it in that department.
Yes.
It's been a one-man army. But yeah, the fact that Purpo has been missing so far is worrying, especially because, as said, during the off-season, they were running this composition with Neon. They swapped to Jet to go for that head-to-head, to try and take this kid down, and it's not working. And he's had an operator, he's had different weapons to try and put him into place. The round he went for a peek with the op, he was met by Sociable, who also had an op, so they were ready for anything he was trying to attempt. For now, at least, he's looking to try and get aggressive again, but it's not the same sort of danger that we saw when having that expensive sniper. Only a pistol in hand this time.
Yeah, depending on the distance, even the headshot won't be enough to drop them in one. Except maybe against VAC. Huge advantages for BBL. And they know it as well, looking at the economy. Just when they tap tab, they'll see this is not a full buy. Most of them can't afford Vandals if they want them. But they're still showing respect to their opponents, knowing that these are rounds that they've already seen challenges, or even worse, losses on the back of. GX with West Side up close. He's had some good rounds so far, and Tamazi's the one to open it up. Damage done onto VAC. It's an easy conversion. 2 kills picked up. Lots of damage done, and GX, this is one of the best rounds they've had.
Oh, they're taking a lot of damage back in response, though. 11 HP for Runner. Tamazi, this is the second time we've seen him on one. He only needs to land another shot to at least chip away at some of the health. They've also got themselves, well, I was going to say Hunter's Fury, but it doesn't matter. Pace save card Thrifty is what brings GX back from the fray and puts them one away from BBL's score.
I think that one bullet just tripled Purpo's kills. Fair play.
Yeah, it did.
That's one way to work it. 4-3, and it's definitely not too late to start stepping it up. It's not a bad game, it's a bad start. At least for now. Loon shut down after just the one, and that's a rarity. This guy, he was 12-3, now 13-4. That shot,
I needed that one slowed down.
Beautiful.
I needed that slowed down. I didn't even notice the second player the first couple of times. Right back into the action though. Early shock dart, and well, Luna's had a field day just running it down on A-Long. We talked about this guy coming from the Turkish league coming from Galatasaray. I'd say running it down long is something from the strat book, but he's bringing it to VCT.
You have to imagine, how much this means to a player like that, grinding your way up the Turkish scene for years and then getting a chance on someone like BBL to come and represent your country, not just as you've been doing the whole time, but on this stage with the best of the best. For many players from your region have made names for themselves before, but Loon seems set to follow that track record. Rolling Thunder, they want to contest. They're going through the Nano, trying to destroy this lockdown, but it's not quite so easy with Cloud protecting it. Now Danger, it's down to a second, and they will not get it. Detained, three of them. BBL. Oh, I thought they'd walk past Vac. Luckily, GX turned to catch him, and, well, Sociable safe down on shore, but the spike is anything but. They have to swing out. Stun is good. Swing is good. They've stopped the defuse for a moment, but no one's left to stop it in the end.
Yeah, I think you could tell that the GX were very ready for them to try and push that, them to try and counter that. And that's the thing. You have two options when that lockdown goes into play. You force yourself into the back corners of A or go all the way back towards your own spawn, or you fight it. The problem is your opponents are very, very ready for you to try and fight that one, and it almost became too easy when 3 players ended up getting detained. BBL now are going to take themselves a timeout. Similarly to the last map, a solid start for one team and the other swinging back in response. Good to see as well that a couple of the sort of newer players on the block, like Tamazi, maybe didn't have the best of maps in the last, but starting to step up quite a lot, especially the round with the Marshall.
Yeah, he was landing some shots, some headshots indeed. Now when we come into this timeout,
can't read his handwriting.
The side of BBL, 4-4. They've only picked up 1 of the last 5 rounds, starting to feel this one slip away, slowly but surely. Obviously, I still believe, despite what maybe at the top of your screens, that this one here is BBL's choice. And for BBL, you have to imagine, attack side, 4 rounds on the board. There's not that much more groundwork to do here. As long as they can keep it close, I'm imagining their defense won't suffer all too much. West side, it's had a slower start for GX, but some big rounds. I want to see this guy when he's isolated, when his side is pressured, and they go running into him. Because someone's got to match Loon in this head-to-head opening duels. Someone like Westside could be the guy, the hidden hero.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of what BBL has done successfully is, well, Loon has managed to get them a lot of like crazy opening picks. Purpo, it's not gone well. It's the exact same scenario. I was going to say, if he doesn't keep getting these opportunities, maybe on the defense, it won't happen quite as easily, but you try and fight the man. You better not miss. That's the exact start that BBL were looking for in this round.
Start they were looking for, the one that Purpo's been trying to avoid, and West side! Much rumor about the damage this man could do. He hasn't dropped Loon, but most of the rest of the team will do. What a recovery! GX now in a 4v2 with a pretty good idea where these players are coming from, and Loon won't win the 1v2 duel. Maybe Vac will, but still plenty of work to do afterwards, and they are not letting that happen. Purpo goes down, but the rest of the squad there to catch him.
That's insane. Like, some of this, the raw firepower that we have in this server at the moment, it seems to be the defining factor for whatever round we get. Loon starts, was he in the air? He was not in the air. He wasn't there. He was in the air. Okay, I would be hella tilted, but then your teammate does this, I don't think you feel quite as bad.
5 bullets, 3 kills.
He killed me from the sky. Oh, never mind. That's exactly what you were talking about. They didn't come to his site. He went to them, though. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe if he can just set himself up and they play into his hand. No, he makes his own hand. Purpo's running in. Purpo's shut down. Loon. He used all of his Blade Storm there, and well, that is one of the more ambitious plays we've seen, and they are being punished ×2. BBL, 3 versus 4 now. Weaker weapons. Weapons starting to fall by the wayside.
Some of these rounds genuinely do feel like I'm watching deathmatch. Like, it's just people running in for fight after fight, jumping into the angle with an operator on a guy you know is holding. It's ballsy. Not really necessary when you'd already had that opening pick and had the operator. It wasn't like he had to go get it. It was in his hand already. Now for Profek and Yumpy. Now, weirdly, I have seen Yumpy play Breach Operator before, even when he was still at times a duelist on the team. So this isn't too much of a weird occurrence. It's just what he can do with it. Because the crossfires that are currently there, the 2-player sat on B, the deep push already through C. They still have the turret as well for A. Sure, they almost line up. But unfortunately,
they did.
30 seconds.
It's not going to be the kill.
8 HP. Westside barely hung on to life in that duel. Hey, there's a chance if Prophet can land a couple of bullets, but it's isolating those fights that's the real difficulty. You can see there's no need for Westside to get aggressive. He is spamming though, and that gives Prophet the space he needs. In for one to Mazzy low.
He's got Paranoia.
Poked it off as well. Paranoia, maybe he'll TP into it. No, instead just using that to buy a little bit of extra time. Tamazi up top, can't quite see him. Drop down now, looking to push the smoke. They'll take the fight to Prophet, but he is willing to run that clock down. Here's two guns firing out. Walk up from Tamazi. The spam's not good, and Tamazi lands this shot in time. That will be another round on the board for GX. And an operator saved over as well to bolster down their economy. It's looking good towards the end of this half for the defenders.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, at this point, I wouldn't mind seeing Tamazi hold on to that operator. I think he's had his moments when it comes to that C-side defense. I think that's sort of the value that this team has, is you have a depth of Sentinels and Extruders, so if it's not really hitting for Purpo, you could try and swap that up. But I guess if it ain't broke over the last 7 or so rounds, they're not going to try and fix it. He's going to stick to the rifle. Purple back on that gun once again. And in a more standard position, Mitch. This has been somewhere you expect to see the operator rather than pushing Garage.
Well, I mean, you can do what you want with that operator. If you're going to land shots, Purpo is in a bit of danger, and now locked in is Loon. Waiting for that repeat to come through, but Purpo fires into the smoke. Loon had pushed up to get a little closer to try to make a play. Well, that's certainly not worked out. One of the easier ways to drop Loon is if he can't see you. Fair enough, just shoot through the smoke. HP disappears just like anyone else's, just like Vax did right now. That Nano doing a ton of damage. He's down to half. Has claimed a bit of space on B for the squad.
Yeah, I do wonder if the value would be more if they can get towards this A site, give them some time to really utilize this space. Instead, I feel like they've rushed into it a little bit, going for the plant on the B site. Now the defenders know exactly where they are, and with a defensive side that has a two-man advantage, I'm not confident.
Oh, good spray by Cloud as well. Thins out the numbers as Purpo's doing just the same. Sociable 1v5, that Hunter's Fury not going to be expanded this time, as there's plenty of players to run in and finish off the defuse. He will just try to carry forward his weapon to the next. I don't think it's quite worth going for that damage. They've got plenty of credits to reinvest, and you've got all your ult orbs, but fair enough. 7-5 is the score they're hoping for. I don't know if we'll get there, but you have to hope so. After a close first map, we're starting to see one team run away with it.
Yeah, I do genuinely feel, though, it does seem like Luke get 3K or they're not winning the rounds. I feel like so far padded the gap within this map so far. Otherwise, it has just been fairly one-way traffic. You're talking about 7 of the last 8 rounds have gone the way of GX, and only the start was in BBL's favor. Early stun, aggressive stance from this defense. You can see the confidence building for Purpo, but it's only going to be the trade, and in fact, a 2-for-1 deal.
Not a bad connection. TP up behind's got them some space too. Tamazi won't be expected to be sitting in this spot. They think they've cleared out a lot of it. Maybe he ran the other way. Do they suspect that he's gotten himself into an unusual spot? They could go walking past this, or they could just take him out quick and easy, but it looks like the latter. They're going back in the other direction. Tamazi realizes now he's got the spike. He's gonna stick around. TP into the corner, has a smoke still, but goes for the fight instead. Now smoking a little too close. Not quite able to defend the spike, and with the reveal, he's in danger. Dealt with, but he's given Westside a winnable hand.
Yeah, the problem is the C site's already completely under the control, or at least it was, of this attacking side. Prophet patiently clearing everything, and Westside has gambled on the wrong side of the map. It's going to be a fairly hefty rotation to get back into position, and in the meantime, they can play off those post plants. They can figure out where they want to sit on this map. It's going to take him at least 10 seconds or so to just clear everything out of the back lines before he can even attempt this retake.
The clock would be ran all the way down. He's seen one already. That's some information for Westside to work with. The second player still, though, an unknown quantity, and he stepped right into his crosshair. Sociable with a good spot has claimed another round for the side of BBL. 7-5 indeed. The close half carries forward to this map, and well, now the challenge really still left to be claimed for either of these squads. Thing is, the pressure is on for GX. They can't afford to lose this one. We're gonna go to a break. When we come back, we'll find out how half 2 of Haven is gonna shape up.
Because I was panicking that he was dying.
It's time to kick off half number 2 of Haven. BBL's map pick, where they're trailing now by 2 rounds. Tom, do you expect to see that change now that they're on the defensive side?
Let's say, can you hold that sign a bit higher? We couldn't quite see it. Oh, God. I don't know. I think that BBL going into the defense, it's a little bit more of an opportunity to have their own setups of like Loom being put into a position where he doesn't have to just dive head first in. The only problem is I feel like a lot of their initial setups on attack were solely set around him, which on a map like Haven you can't really do as easily. So I'll be intrigued to see if he can still have the same impact. Well, I was going to say when he doesn't have support, but then he did basically triple kill win a round where there was just a dart. So I think he'll be okay. For the attack side, really good recovery, looking very comfortable. Purpo also, I think he went from like, what, 1-5 to 8-8, so a decent comeback towards the end. I think that's going to be important because his job is to dive head first into sites and try and get opening kills. If he is having a terrible game individually, that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, then you're going to be hoping for someone like Westside on the other side of the map. Those lurks that we saw on Lotus, not a ton of success, but there were rounds where he found them a free rotation or even an opening pick on the way back into a game. Now, as we get into this second half, the pistol will be where we started out. And for BBL, winning it bridges the gap, puts them back to neck and neck. For GX, though, a huge boost if they can find this round, propelling themselves into the lead and ever closer to that third map. They need to take BBL's map pick of Haven if they want to make it to Pearl. Otherwise, that lower bracket will be calling them.
That's the thing, it's definitely not as gruesome as it used to be, but 2 losses. You are done. That is an awkward fight already for Tabazzi. He was not expecting anybody to be that far forward. Purpo immediately springs into action. He is definitely looking back, but his nemesis still stands within the sight, just popping head after head. Welcome to VCT, Loon. You are putting on a show.
Again and again. Either he gets the 3K or they lose the round. We've seen it a few times.
It's nuts.
17 kills so far. We're just starting out the second half. And for this guy, his second map in VCT EMEA, certainly not disappointing in either of these debut performances. For BBL, well, they're certainly going to be thanking their scouting staff when it comes to this guy's pickup.
I was going to say, they might have like lost the amount of Turkish players, but I think the amount of Turkish firepower might have actually gone up. It's another one. Well, we know he needs 2 more, otherwise the round could still go to GX.
Oh, he's gonna make it away. Back's all right. He's safe in the back, and Yumpy's come through to support him. Beautiful play from the side of BBL, and it will indeed be an in-zone flawless to put them neck and neck. 7-7 is the scoreline. As we said, that pistol round could have been a big boost for GX, sending them, propelling them into the lead, and giving hope that they will get that chance to battle on the decider. But instead, BBL look to finish it here.
I wonder if this is how like BBL sold the idea to Yumpy. It's like, right, we want you to IGO. He's like, oh, really? We found this Turkish kid. Say no more. Say I was. You had me at Turkish. Because honestly, I know we're gassing him up quite a lot. It's only his first day on the stage, and he's been super impressive. Map 1 was incredible. Where is he going? He's just dashed through the smoke and turned around and killed Tamazi.
He's not afraid to make unusual plays. Let's
He's just not afraid. We just end the sentence there.
This is a squad that what the winner of this goes up against Fnatic. Someone like Alpha is going to be sat there going, oh no, really going to have to
Someone's coming
prove
for my
yourself.
crown.
Exactly.
Again.
Another challenger. But this one really has the bite to back up that bark. BBL.
Wu and Rians wasn't already enough.
Well, 5 versus 4. GX. They've got the spike on the floor, but they've got a teammate down as well.
Of course, the trade is there once again. Sociable adds another to the death toll. This is starting to get dangerous. The only thing that's a worry is that clock. Still got the aftershock to go in. That's going to buy even more. And in fact, they're landing every single shot. Prophet, there's not really anything he can do here. I don't believe they've got it to half. He's just waiting to see if he can do damage. The post-farm of GX was sublime. And a round that looked like it was going BBL's way has slipped.
Yeah. The lead will be maintained for now, at least. GX up by 1. Thing is, you know, if you're on the side of BBL, you're going to look back at that.
Look at this!
We had a lot of weaknesses. Weaknesses like that Bulldog, apparently. But in the hands of Loon, it just doesn't seem to hold true. Lots of kills for them. Pushing through that smoke, taking the space afterwards, and walking into Westside's crosshair proves to be a mistake. I said he had a slower start. Again, though, when you're on that defense, you're a sentinel.
Yeah,
I think come to you, it is what it is.
6. Like, it wasn't even bad.
It wasn't terrible, just whatever. But this is more what I was expecting to see. He is putting up a fight against BBL, claiming that lead, and Purpo
He's won the battle.
doesn't want to let go of it.
Yeah, finally we see Purpo get a victory over the young Turkish star. And immediately, they're going to back off. They're going to take that victory. They've, I guess, maybe heard the rotation even. Westside has got quite a deep position towards Garage, so that might just be the reason that they've decided, okay, we've heard 2, maybe even 3 players rotate. Let's not go that way anymore.
They're still droning A long, despite Spike being outside B. Maybe expecting someone's gotten aggressive on A. Yeah. They'll hear the drone, they'll call for the rotate back in the other direction, and that has happened. Whether it was the drone or just timing, they've decided to rotate to A. Players now caught in spawn, not ready to react to this B hit. Profek is, though. He's good on the angle, and even doubling up for a second. That's Purpo and Runner down. The spike still in the hands of GX, but map control limited. They have chosen the correct direction, though. It's lighter towards C. In fact, it's wide open, and they'll step right in to fill that space.
Looking for plant. Yumpy shot. Trying to make a way into it, but not going to find anything. Good trade, though. This is left on to Tamazi, and well, the man of the moment, Westside, the post-plant king. He's pulled out rounds for them already. When you go back to that first map, Tamazi's got to be careful. The angle for him is not ideal. In fact, it's Westside that takes a lot of damage and Prophet waiting. It needs to be another crazy clutch first. Goes his way, but the movement of Yumpy and the shots of Prophet are going to gift another round. It is BBL up to 8. And I think Prophet is definitely, like, if you watched Ascension, he's someone that needed to be highlighted. You look at the early stages, maybe you were only watching later in the tournament, you go, okay, I didn't see too much of this guy. Their team started off with that victory over Apex. They were one of the rosters that was actually challenging it. I think they didn't go through on a very small margin in the end. He was definitely a standout, playing that controller well. Someone I think over the season is going to be a joy to watch. And okay, he's slightly being overshadowed by his teammate at the moment, but a 4K that, well needed, puts a lot of pressure on the economy of GX. And more importantly, BBL right back in the game.
But it saves them. Their economy's still down to its last credits for a lot of these players after that win. It was a big play. Profek certainly has his fingerprint all over that last round. Now looking to get aggressive again. Previously he caught them pushing in. This time he doesn't even let them start the push. A shutdown on short. And Cloud and Westside left to do it all. Now damage has been done.
Yeah.
And a rifle retreat, it's a little scary till that is returned. Westside on 29. What should be now an easy close.
Yeah, the only real worry is that each of these players, excluding Vac, are incredibly low on HP. Like, all of them can be taken out with, maybe not ease, but with a bullet or two. And you can see that BBL have, okay, we've got to back off. Like, we can't keep playing these aggressive angles. They've already expected us to be here. We know that the flank is being watched as well by Vac. Although, I'd say watched is a bit of a loose term. He's now coming back to make sure they haven't got past them. In the end, it's all she wrote. An easy cleanup for BBL. And once again, going into the later stages is where they start to really build up and take the lead.
Well, that's it. That's the scary thing. Heated up now. With one round in between them and the lead slipping into BBL's control. Some aggression out of Profek. 2 rounds back to back. He's been able to make his mark, shutting down the B play just 2 rounds ago, sending them the other direction where he shut them down on C as well. And just the same for the short control this time around. There's more gunners on this squad as we're seeing, with rounds going up in favor of BBL. The operator in Loon's hands and an early peek that is returned. Purpo able to make that 1-to-1 trade and leave B wide open for the taking.
Yeah, he took his time with the shot and ended up losing his life for it. Again, this fast-paced take into B, it's been attempted a couple of times by either side. The post plant last time out was impressive. A lot of that down to Westside, and already his ult is put into delay. It kind of sold his teammate out though. That's runner gone. He now falls in. Still need to clear that ult, otherwise Vac's gonna be in trouble. Trying to find something, and eventually he's gonna break it. It gives his teammates a way back in much quicker, dealing with everybody. Leaving just Tomazi, but he's not even really in a position to challenge. He has to go swinging immediately, and he won't be able to find the kills.
That was a little too tall of a task to ask. 10-8. Now BBL, 2 in the lead. And for GX, well, starting to look back at the previous map, starting to look a little bit similar. A close first half, neck and neck.
But the
that lead diminishes
as well. Like on the players towards the door, like, you know that they're going to push this in order to try and break it. Runner has no idea. Westside's not watching a tight enough angle to stop the player dying, and then it comes out, okay, I'm now fighting, instead of an advantage, I'm fighting for a trade.
Yeah.
If there's anywhere they're going to push to break that lockdown, it's that door. You cannot have the miscommunication of that spacing.
It's a huge oversight, and one that they have been punished for extensively. Economy starting to run low on GX. Lots of credits invested into this one. A Blade Storm from Purpo. Luckily, as they don't have an extra rifle worth of credits to invest. For BBL, money problems, a thing of the past, perhaps, as they start to build up this bank. Operator in play, Blade Storm to back it up. Rolling Thunder just 1 away as well. There's some ultimates for GX outside of the Blade Storm. It's going to be situational to find that impact.
Here.
Really, your eyes drawn to Loon, but it doesn't look like he's going to get the chance to take a shot early. GX moving in the other direction, looking to meet up with Westside.
It seemed like they were having pretty heavy expectations that this was a play towards A. Although now you've got 2 players still looking to try and maybe sell a ruse towards short. The drone, that's the whole idea. The thing is, this could end up going the other direction. If they run back at all, they're going to get spotted on the way past. I believe they have. Yeah, Loon catches the shot. So they now know that this is a fake. They know that they're going in the other direction. Even still, though, GX have done well on the openers. Well, they had.
Yeah, they had. Tomazi went down on A, and the rest of the squad fading. Profek, it was a risky play.
They got 20 seconds.
And now it's a 3v2, but still with limited time. As you said, 20 now down to 15. They need to make a move, and the shots don't land for the side of GX. BBL extending the lead up to 3, and the beginning of the end of this series seems just moments away. 3 rounds between them, and GX don't quite have the cash to challenge here. They may have to take the eco and play for 4 in a row for OT.
I think that's the thing. That it was just GX in that moment thinking, okay, well, we've solved this early information. We cleared that. No one's going to take that back from us. And again, okay, sure, it's just Loon going walkabouts and winning the round for them, but it was enough information and then just a solid hold on the other side of the map without a need to over-rotate into this A-site push. Nice shot from Cloud. Again, I feel like that battle for Loon has not been successful. It's either been a 1-for-1 trade, or in this case, that's the up-down on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, they're very ready for him to peek up top, but that hasn't really helped in a lot of the other fights.
A-site is open.
Wide open. Drone going up won't be heard either. It's cancelled early after just spotting the corner. They'll walk up for free. They'll walk in for free, and the plant should be obtained. BBL, with a lack of information, have gone for the push on C site, walked all the way up and seen that it is clear as day. Now they'll have to play the retake, and despite the weaker weapons, with positional advantages, man advantages, and a Hunter's Fury post-plant, this could get a little bit hairy.
I guess they wanted the stun for Runner more than anything else, but if he plants there, he has his Rolling Thunder. Cloud already had his ult, so it's one where you could have had that online. We'll see if it plays a part. The position of Cloud, not really covered, but I guess if he wins the fights, it doesn't matter too much, and they're watching for those flanks. Prophet, nice couple of shots, but even still they have a disadvantage, which is quickly dissipated. And now Cloud, the man that started it all, has to try and finish it off. Stunned up, caught, but he lands one, and again, Prophet is there to save the day. If it isn't a Turkish hero, it's a Polish hero, as that's now 12 for BBL.
Yeah, that was a round that I was a little worried about. The fact that Prophet comes up behind with the perfect weapon, one bullet takes down these players when you're running that outlaw, when they've not gone for that full investment or when they've been chipped up earlier. And that's what turned the tide of this round. Runner and Tamazi down, big players dealt with, and Access back in with a follow-up kill. I mean, we've highlighted this man so far.
Yeah. He's catching.
Multiple multi-kills that put those rounds on the board. I think that 4-round lead is pretty much thanks to him.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was Loon a lot in the first. Still had some big rounds in the second, but Prophet has really been impressing when it comes to this defensive side. And GX, well, it's a roster that no doubt has a lot of talent within it. Right now, it's looking like a bit of a miss, and it's definitely a worrying sign, especially up against the BBL that has a player missing, has a lot of rookies to the league. And you're coming in with, well, 4 players who have been in the VCT before, and the other is Westside. It's not like someone we don't talk about. Cloud looking for that opener. It's going to be Purpo to follow up instead, and the response not there. Prophet's in position, though.
Being the hero of a lot of these rounds, starts it by catching Purpo off guard. Paranoia doesn't catch. Runners clear, sidestepping it and making it into the site. Spam for Sociable, not quite doing much, and well, they just fire right back. It was. It revealed them, but his tracers revealed him. And instead, we now look to Loon and Yumpy. Loon looking to make it happen again. A nice first fight. Westside, who's done a lot of damage to him in the past, is the one to fall. And the distraction of the dash used to buy some space and time for Yumpy to thread the needle up through long. Loon, again! He just keeps on delivering, but this time the lunatic is put down, and Yumpy is the hero they need. Done damage, but delivered in return from GX, down to just 4. And they've tapped. Oh, the timing is huge!
Oh my God.
It comes down to a bullet in either direction. Luckily for GX, they're the ones to find it. 3 more needed for overtime.
Yeah, you could see Tamazi sort of fell back just because he was so low at HP, ended up having to turn back around. Again, though, solid work when it comes to this openers. I feel like those pacier hits do seem to be working wonders for the side of GX, and while after the combo breaker finally comes through, the one good thing for GX is they've been keeping that economy honest the entire time. It was always clutches. It was, as we mentioned, Prophet coming up with 4Ks. It wasn't clean rounds that we'd seen in some of the earlier positions, and because of that, even though they've won 5 in a row, the economy is still being called into question here for BBL.
Well, you saw Powell with his playbook out. 3 rounds left to play with. The economy not looking fantastic for BBL. When we get back into the game, you'll see that. There could be some investments, but for the most part, we're anticipating them keeping a lot of those credits, giving 12-10 over. But even if they do invest slightly, Tom, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be an easy round for GX. Prophet's been popping off. We know what Loon can do. Luckily, when we check the ult economy, nothing quite there for BBL just yet. GX,
I'll say
Rolling Thunder.
That's been sort of the most impressive thing for me is if I go into this matchup, I think, okay, BBL shouldn't really win on synergy or firepower, because those are the two things. Like, firstly, GX have got their full roster and have been practicing fairly early on from the season, it seems, and also everybody they picked up is like either a CIS aimer or like someone who we know has fantastic individual performance. But the fact is, Loon and Prophet, and in fact the full squad, have sort of matched them pound for pound all the way and look slightly better as a team. That start, though, is not bad. They caught Loon in no man's land, and although Yumpy will deal a death blow to one, I don't think he's long for this world.
Dropped right after 4 versus 2. Sociable and back. A rifle for Sociable, at least a good chance to deal damage, and they are walking the right way. It's a gamble from GX. They don't know where their opponents are, and they're going to just use the pack mentality. Steps now being heard. Back knows exactly what's going on. He's going to get into position on time. Reveals for backside. They hide behind the smoke, allowing those 2 pulses to go through, and now they pick their moment to emerge. A reveal of their own about to come in. It's destroyed immediately, and they turn their sights to that smoke where it came from. Already dealing with back and knowing Sociable's there. This round is a foregone conclusion. 12-10, but here is where BBL invest.
This is where the pressure truly is on for BBL. They came into this one as underdogs, not necessarily for reasons they would have liked. But the fact is, when you get this close to closing it out, that will be so much more painful if GX are able to get it back over the line. And what we sort of talk about experience in general, across the board in terms of players on the team, I guess excluding Yumpy, who kind of eclipses everyone, but even talking about coaching stuff, like Mark New came in last year, Pao to join him this year, Pipson's been there a while, Waylander's new. But GX have been here before. Majority of their players have been on this stage before. Can they show why even the youth can't be their experience?
Trap there, waiting for the dash. Although it's a little shy, eventually they will be spotted. Vac, though, having been stunned up, not ready to pounce, will not punish. On the back of that trip, it's been destroyed on short too, so nothing left to play with, and he's been spotted. Spam's now forcing him to the open, shock darts to pursue him. And damage down to 9 HP. Great shock dart coming out from Cloud. The flank's being spotted as well. They know it's coming, but it's Loon to swing the angle. West side greeting him on the other, well, in fact, bailing out, moving to the A side. They'll instead fight forward into the defender spawn, suspecting that's where it's weaker. West side and Tamazi putting up the numbers, and it's Vac down to 9 HP from earlier. Trying desperately to give them a way back in, but they look at the economy, they realize it just isn't worth the risk. 2v4, low HP, they go to the other side of the map. Vac seems safe. I think he'll save successfully. Yumpy's got a player hot on his tail.
Well, that's the thing, they are hightailing it as quickly as they can to try and take these weapons away. They had 4 players alive in the last round for the attack, so they're not really worried about the finances, but both will be able to survive, and that's important. They are in a bad spot financially if they don't hold on to those 2 guns. The problem, though, now is 3 rounds in a row for GX. Relatively clean ones, especially in comparison to some of the ones we've seen in the past. And in terms of ultimates, they definitely seem like they're closer to some of the more dangerous ones.
1 round left to play for. Time to put it all on the field. Loon, we haven't heard from him in a little while. He's being a bit more quiet. They know where he is. They've seen that cloudburst land, but the second is a fake. He pretends to fall back, stays for the fight, and 1 bullet landed, and he gets out with his life. The fight, though, on the C side won't be quite as easy to dismiss. Yumpy putting out his util to try and cause a bother, but GX are quick on the kills, taking control of Garage, blitzing into the site and sending back into a spiral. They could be anywhere all around and dropping into his cage. Another is found. BBL, they thought they might have had this 2-0, and if they do, it might have to be in overtime.
They need a hero once again. Luckily, both the players we've talked about are still standing, or at least one of them is. Sociable, only there for a trade, and now he's the only one left to try and stop the inevitable. It's been 3 in a row, looking for 4 as GX have come alive right at the depths and left on just 5 HP. The chances now seem at absolute 0. The time at least still there, but it's not going to be anything more. GX, it seemed like they were down and out, seemed like they were heading to the lower bracket, but they have managed the streak.
Oh, there's still some life left on Haven. We could go all the way to Pearl. It wasn't looking likely. I think they needed 4 in a row at one point.
Yeah.
I don't know why I looked at you, Tom. If I look at the screen, I can see they needed 4 in a row. But to make that happen didn't seem too likely. It was a huge streak of rounds from BBL. But GX have managed to hold on tight, clutching to that ledge, and they won't go falling off just yet. 20 seconds until overtime kicks off, round number 25, and BBL back on the attack. The one thing is that might be back to comfort for someone like Loon, who has been missing for a couple of rounds. Players like Profek have stepped up for these huge plays. Have GX finally figured out Loon, or are they about to taste some of his fury once again?
A lot of this attack side was down to him. It was aggressive pushes. The rest of the squad just throwing in what utility they can to support him, but the defense are not just sitting pretty. They've pushed all the way up on A, and in fact, look to play a retake on this C site. 2 players waiting on the cross in Garage. But other than that, it's all up to that flank.
Camera taken out.
The reveal. They don't know the VAC is here quite that aggressive. The shots don't land, though. Big punish from Tamazi. GX now look to make their way a little bit closer towards C. Sociable's here to greet them, only finding himself the one before being dropped. GX maintain their advantage, double down in fact. Loon, the furthest back man, a sneaky position, but he has to make a move now. Purpo has just been shredding the squad, and they knew exactly where he was. Suspicion confirmed, and the round on the board means GX are now fighting for that 3rd map. Just 1 round to make it there.
It would be the most sort of like GX fashion to be able to just turn it right at the last second. The
Same old team.
For the unfortunate truth of BBL, that sort of lack of experience, mentioned it, that youth was really shining in the early stages of this map, and the second they got to closing it, we see the tenured VCT players start to show their might. We always talk about the kickoff system and how brutal it can be. It's not a single elimination this time around. You're not 1 strike and you're out at least, but that lower bracket's not going to get any easier. I don't. That's the thing that's so exciting about coming back at the beginning of the year. I don't know who's going to be good. And for anybody out there who's going, well, I do, just bear in mind, I would say in 90+% of everybody's tier list last year, the worst team is Heretics. Yeah. Just a thing. And if you're sat there going, oh, I never did, you're a liar, or maybe you're Spanish and you believed in the organ. That's fine. That's fine. If you're a fan, that's fine. So anything is possible going into this season. I think we've talked about the likes of a Gentlemates looking really exciting. We don't know what we're going to get from Liquid. Fnatic have made changes as well. New Vitality. There is so much on the line here. So maybe you lose this match and you've lost to the best team. Or maybe you lose this match and you've lost to the 10th best team. Exactly. And then you're going to go up against someone even tougher in the next match. It is brutal.
Yeah, there is no easy matchup on paper. I'm sure we'll revisit that point in 2 or 3 weeks, and we might have a different
stage 1 we'll be like, oh, they had the easy game.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a blowout. But for now, it's all unknowns, it's all question marks, and separating these 2 teams seems to be quite a difficult task. 13-9, BBL took GX's map pick, but GX fighting back. We've gone to OT. Loon looking to recapture some of that magic from the first half. He won't find a victim. GX very patient on one side of the map. On A short, not quite the case, and Sociable puts them in the ground. Loon, though, is caught re-aggressing.
Hey, didn't fall off of it after they had the advantage, and now it's put GX right back into a position to pounce. Yumpy's trying to maybe catch the player utilizing that drone, but hasn't guessed the right side, and it's just going to leave in a stalemate for now. On that A site, Profek, the other prong to that success of BBL in this map. It's going to be alone, but it seems like the call is there. Rotation already in from Sociable to try and help him out.
See if Profek can do it again. Good paranoia to start us off. Utility's not gone. He's made it out at least, but Sociable's dead up in heaven. A quick shot landed. As he attempted to cover his teammates' fall back from that utility. He's lost his life in BBL now. 1 man down. The retake tough up against the utility, still waiting to run that clock down a little bit further, but there's not much left for GX, so they get aggressive. A crossfire to start as they walk out of Hell. It's going to be a couple of kills going GX's way that leave Profect to once again attempt the clutch. It will not happen, and the third map will. GX have bought themselves a lifeline. We're going all the way to Pearl.
Yeah, it seemed like BBL had come into this one. Their dreams were coming true. An opening day that no one could have written. Instead, their nightmares might just be beginning. We are heading to map 3 to see who closes this one out.
Red Bull gives you wings.